this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No. We
return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies. We like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin vs. the World. I'm Septum Sin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what they got. Of course, first off, no Gundam. But we do have a couple of things that we think you might like right now.
We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We're dreaming of pixels and 2D sprites. We're longing for the days of playing all night. We're throwing controllers, we're blowing in games. AES, Dennis says we got the bits of yesterday. 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 The burning bushes and breaking red lights. The star punches to finish the fight. We got the power, not the glove. We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We got the power. We got the power. We got the power. We got the power. We got the bits of yesterday. 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 We got the bits of yesterday.
Well, we got quite a bit going on here. And, of course, we have a kitty cat here who's joining us, as always.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to start with one that's in the lesser. But one of the DC, and it's actually DCEU, they put out a Swamp Thing series on their streaming channel. And this has like 10 or 11 episodes. When I saw it, I thought it was the old Swamp Thing TV series, which had 2 movies and a TV series with it. But this one was, of course, the newer one. And I'm curious, just like anything else, but there's just so much out there. With DC, you got the Arrowverse, you got all the animated stuff, you got the EU. Then, of course, if you want to go with Marvel with comic books, you got those. You got, of course, 3 new TV series coming out there. when you got the WandaVision.
Right.
I'm sure you watched the Super Bowl with the ads that they had.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, well,
What the hell would I have been watching the Super Bowl?
Well, you like the Super Bowl.
But I don't have TV.
Ah, well, you could have, like, got one off of a truck or something.
No.
No,
I have a TV. I don't have TV. It doesn't stream to the TV. So, yeah, no.
Well, I didn't watch any of it as much, but I was called over for the commercials for that. And they had the WandaVision, the Captain America one, and what was the third one? What was the third
Isn't
one?
Loki getting one?
Loki, yeah, that was the other one.
Ah.
So, those, and of course, I guess Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They're doing a
that's still-
Captain America one?
Yeah, Captain America and the Falcon Captain America, where it's Falcon and Bucky.
Yeah, that's called, I think that's called Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
he's-
Captain America in that equation.
Well, he is Captain America now. Falcon is Captain America,
Yeah.
so therefore, he's Captain
Right,
America.
But you had me confused. That's a series?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was a movie.
So, all that coming to Disney Plus.
Oh, boy.
And so, just in case you didn't have enough to watch and fill your time. But Swamp Thing, that can fill even more of your time. So,
Yeah.
have at it.
And Swamp Thing's, it was never my favorite character, but me being an environmentalist, the fact that he is the power of the green,
I mean,
I like this. And,
more of a like Man Thing, doesn't it?
I believe so, yeah. And I've seen some interesting Swamp Thing stories, so... And this may be an attempt at a backdoor pilot for Justice League Dark, because they're trying really hard to make that happen, but...
Whatever.
We'll see. So, starting off on... let's start off on a lesser note. There's a film coming out that got middling ratings, but it's a Chinese film that the people who liked it really liked it. And it's called Suburban Birds. And I don't know a great deal about it beyond that. It looks like it could be enjoyable. And, one of these days I'm going to try it out and see if I enjoy it.
Darn it, what happened
What are you-
to it? I had
what
it
are
on
you doing?
IMDb for my thing.
You didn't have IMDb up already.
Oh, well, I'll have to find it again.
Okay.
There we go.
Your beat.
There we go. So, another one that just looked interesting. I saw this back in the 80s.
I like that one line.
And I just wanted to double check of the names on it. Alan Arkush did a film with Andy Kaufman, Bernadette Peters, Randy Quaid, and a whole bunch of other fun actors and actresses called Heartbeeps. And it's essentially about these pair of serving robots that fall in love and decided to break away from their masters.
Read that description. I love that description.
I can't read it because it's too small. What's it say?
It says 2 household robots run away and try to start a family.
Yep. So, yeah, essentially,
Good times.
it's just... I remember it being funny and just so ludicrous. I would like to own this. They're having a re-release here on Blu-ray of it, so
Nice.
it's going to be fun. That's something there.
Okay. So, and I'm guessing that may well be the first Blu-ray release, huh? Right.
Shoot, it might be the first media release of the... I'm sure there was a VHS release, but I don't
Right.
recall it ever hitting anything else, so...
So speaking of format upgrades, because I'm pretty sure this is the first upgrade for this one. This season, of course, Marty Scorsese has been the talk of the town for The Irishman. One of his less acclaimed films that I thought was unfortunately overlooked, because it was a pretty solid film, is the movie Shutter Island, which apparently is getting a 4K treatment this week.
Might be cool.
It might be cool. This was a really fun movie. It was one of DiCaprio's slightly more unhinged roles. Ben Kingsley did a phenomenal job in this one as well. And you had a lot of other people. Patricia Clarkson, Max von Sydow. Very, very creepy performance from, what's-his-face? Oh, man, I'm drawing a blank on it now. The guy that played Rorschach. Why am I
In the
drawing a
movie
blank?
or in the TV show?
No, in the movie.
Okay.
Oh, man, how am I forgetting that? Jackie Earle Haley, there you go. You got a bunch of good people in this. Michelle Williams, she's always solid. Personally, I thought this was one of the more horror films that Scorsese has done. I actually thought this was a more effective one than his Cape Fear remake. Don't know why it didn't get more love than it did.
Oh, it was a great suspense film.
Yeah, it should look good too on the 4K, so it'd be worth checking out.
Well, another one I have here is related to a TV series, and so far it's the only live-action version that I've tracked down that's going to be for sale. There may be more live-action versions of this, I just don't know. And that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable Chapter 1, which is kind of funny because I believe that's the one that I'm just working towards finishing in the anime chapter, but this is live action. So there is this part of me that really wants to see something that crazy in live action. I mean, that's gotta be mind-numbing. So I gotta see it. That's just gonna be interesting. I mean, if you see what the poster looks like, it's just wild. Maybe I pull this up for you. Have you seen the poster of this?
I think so.
I mean, it is just crazy. There goes. I mean, that hair. Anime hair just isn't meant for real life.
So, speaking of, you must be chomping at the bit for Netflix's live-action One Piece.
Yeah, whatever. They need to finish the animated one first.
That still baffles me. How? That's not a show that screams live-action.
Very cartoony series.
Oh, man. You'd need a ton of special effects just to get through the first just the first episode.
Yeah.
Between Luffy and Buggy, you would need so many special effects to get through the first episode.
Oh, it could look cheap as hell.
Well, it could. Now, if they went for that sort of cartoony kind of look, you never know. Yeah. So at any rate, a series that, Netflix people, if you're paying attention, I know you're trying to turn every anime that makes a splash here into live action. Tackle some of the ones that would work. One that I think would actually work in live action if done well would be Fruits Basket. That'd be a nice one to try, I think. And for a little bit of counter programming. But season 1, part 2 of the new series? Yeah, of the new series is getting released this week from Funimation. They've already done their big release for part 1. Now they're doing part 2. I still need to see the new series, but the old series is a classic, and supposedly the new one is better in many ways and not in some ways, but, it should be good. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Sailor Moon with Crystal. Now, the first season of Crystal is kind of unequivocally worse.
It sucked.
But still, many people still praised it for the fact that the art style and the story were much more on par with the comic.
Well, apparently with Fruits Basket, they went the opposite direction of Crystal. Like, with Fruits Basket, the main complaint I've heard is that it slows it down too much. Whereas Sailor Moon, they tried to speed it up. They sped it up.
Yeah, though they did learn by the second season of Crystal to slow it down a little bit, which was good. I guess they thought, you saw the other series, you don't need to worry about it. Sort of like how they thought in Full Metal Alchemist when they did Brotherhood. Well, you saw that first part done already.
Well, Full Metal, they did it creatively. They didn't just try to speed through it. They kind of took some parts and redid them, and other parts they sped through, and other parts they did in flashback, and on balance it worked, but it was a little disconcerting at first.
I think both series have their merits. Of course, I did think about it. Now I know how they're going to do One Piece. It's going to be live action One Piece like Disney did live action Lion King.
Oh.
See, there you go. Actually, they could use some of that type of animation for a Fruits Basket thing. Actually,
on a very serious note, if they contact Robert Rodriguez and Troublemaker Studios and maybe Peter Jackson and Weta, maybe get those two together working on it, you get some pretty epic visual effects, but Rodriguez could keep it below budget, you know?
It'd have to, because with the rest of that team, it'd be the highest costing Netflix series ever.
Oh, I don't know about
Especially
that.
with the content, with the sheer amount of content that One Piece has.
Well, I
It's
think
still going.
the first order, I think, is for 10 episodes.
I mean, the writer's saying that it's probably going to go on for another 20 years or something like that. You know, that's a lot of time.
Some people must be celebrating this news.
No.
Not you.
Shoot, it looks like they've stalled releasing it on physical media here, which is fine by me, I guess. Though
Well,
it
you
does
know-
bug me when they not. It's like case closed where they just stop
Right.
in the middle. Well, not in the middle anymore.
Oh, no. Not
It's almost
anymore.
1,000 episodes.
Jeez.
So, last one that I have that I don't have physical already, and I was surprised about this, was, of course, they're releasing a lot of these, and you saw some of these in the Walmarts and stuff, but I guess they're continuing this trend by doing these old retro VHS-style Blu-rays.
Right.
And one that I was surprised I did not have is When a Stranger Calls, especially the
surprised,
classic, because it is a classic thriller.
Did we
And
do
it
that
is-
one on Movies Galore?
I don't remember, but it is a
I know we talked
classic.
about it.
It's one that I need in my collection.
Right.
It's one that I definitely put on my wish list, and it's one that, who knows, maybe I'll end up getting this version. There's several. There's a remake. I don't know why I don't have either of those, but definitely I want this yesterday.
All right. The other Funimation one I'm going to mention here is they are doing an Essentials release, so you know it's important. An Essentials release of a series called Unbreakable Machine Doll. I'll be honest, I know nothing about this series. I have middling interest in it, but the title grabbed me and hasn't let go. I want it just because it looks cool. I don't care if it's any good, but I am not making it a priority for that reason. But because it's getting an Essentials release, it should be affordable. So,
Well, I will say this: I like the font that they use. That is a
well,
good
like I
font.
said, stylistically, the cover looks good.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Well, now on to ones I actually have physical copies for. Well, decided I'd slip from one retro VHS release to another. Hudson Hawk, which I'm going to show down here because that way you can see it here.
The new one looks a lot cooler.
The new one does look a lot cooler. I've got a very old release. This is back when they were talking about it has interactive menus as special features. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a pretty cool movie. A lot of critics panned this, but it was Bruce Willis' movie where he is this career criminal. He's been released, and he gets caught up into this crazy scheme, taking him all over the world to find this special item that can turn lead to gold. And it's most definitely a strange but fun movie. It's a guilty pleasure. A lot of people don't like it. I don't get that because it really is a charming film.
I thought it was okay.
But yeah, to me, it's enjoyable, and it's one I enjoyed when I was younger. I mean, it came out the '90s sometime, and you know, well worth it. I'm sure. Maybe I'll get it. I need to upgrade it eventually, but I have no desire right now.
Another one that's debatably an upgrade, I say debatably because this edition is pretty cool, and it's the edition I have, is Isao Takahata's wonderful classic that he hates, but I think it's a classic, Grave of the Fireflies. This is the old Central Park Media release that actually has a crap ton of special features on it. This is getting a steelbook Blu-ray release from Sentai. Bright red for some reason. I'm not so sure about that look. But Sentai is going back and putting a lot of their stuff on steelbook editions, and it's really tempting to start collecting those, but so far I've held off, because for me, yeah, you know, if it's one I don't have, I may go for it, but most of the ones they put on steelbook I already have, like this one.
It'd have to have substantial, like,
right.
It'd have to have substantial, like, special features, or, well, it could have a quality upgrade, because you're talking Blu-ray as opposed to DVD.
And I've seen the Blu-ray of Grave of the Fireflies, and it is visually impressive.
Yep.
And I will probably get this one if I can get it for under $15. So we'll see. But
maybe on a sale.
Yeah, it definitely on sale. But for those of you who do not have it yet, Sentai has... I feel like this is their third release since they got hold of it. It's at least their second one.
Times, yeah.
So it's nice that they keep doing that. And Steelbook is a cool way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't have it, it's a good one to snap up. Yeah.
So, next up is something that's slightly different. And that is Robocop is getting its, the original Robocop is getting a 4K Arrow release, which is pretty awesome. Now I've got Robocop 1 through 3 on Blu-ray on this collection. As you can see, I paid a massive sum for it. $6.99. And it has, I mean, you can take a look. I mean, that's a decent number of special features on it. I'm not sure I'm really... I mean, Arrow stuff is pretty cool, but they go out of print very quickly. And I'm not sure that I am quite ready to upgrade it beyond. It's an okay movie. I mean, it's a movie about the future, and the future looks crappy, much like today, I guess. And you've got this guy who's a cop, and he gets shot up, and they decide, well, we'll make him into a Robocop. And...
Aren't we at the point in the future the first one was supposed to take place, or past it?
I don't know what year it takes place, but I think it's around. I think it is either at or beyond that time period. I still remember looking at Planet of the Apes, the original one. Actually, not the original one. The I think it was one of the last two movies, and it's like 1991, and I'm just snickering. Apparently the ape holocaust happened, let's see here, 30 years ago almost now. We just didn't notice it, apparently. Apparently all the cats and dogs died. Isn't that right, Phil?
Yeah. Okay.
Just funny how that works. Well, you know, actually, gosh, you don't know the story. I mean, Planet of the Apes, the reason why the apes took over as all the cats and dogs died of a virus, so they all decided to keep apes as pets. The apes evolved, got smarter, they were mistreated, and then they revolted because they're revolting.
Now that's just straight up fiction. We know there's no way all the cats will die off. They'll be here when we're long gone. The new masters of the earth. So... my next one up is an oddball. Honestly, I'm not even sure I'd ever heard of it before we put this list together, but I'm very intrigued by it, and I may thoroughly regret this. But the famed Japanese filmmaker Takashi Miike, who is behind probably his most famous one, arguably, is Ichi the Killer, which I have not brought myself to watch. He did do the hilariously insane acid trip Sukiyaki Western Django, and he's done some other stuff, a ton of stuff over the years. He has a new action comedy supposedly coming out called First Love. I know very little about it, except that it's supposed to be an action comedy from Takashi Miike, and that the female star is very attractive, and that the film did get pretty good notices from the few people who saw it. So, it's on my list. Given Mike's reputation, I may regret watching it, but I think I will enjoy it.
Speaking of questionable enjoyment, Lloyd Kaufman, of course, has a company called Troma.
Right.
And his film, Terra Firma, is 20 years old. So, of course, the 20th anniversary edition. Me, I actually do have a copy of the original DVD release, which is pretty cool. And it's about a film crew that apparently is trying to make a cheap movie, has Ron Jeremy in it. It's supposed to be fun in a Troma way. There is a sort of manic glee that takes place in many Troma films, especially where Lloyd Kaufman is involved. And if you see Lloyd Kaufman, you understand that level.
Yes.
And I would be curious. I have yet to see my copy. I scooped up a lot of Troma stuff. And, just thought it was fun. I got this.
Cool. Yeah, I am obviously, given my issues with...
Troma's a difficult one.
Yes, my understanding is that they are difficult for individuals like me to stomach. But we did watch one film for Movies Galore, Killer Rack, that featured a acting performance from Lloyd Kaufman, and he was quite entertaining in that film, and reminded me a little bit of Mel Brooks. And
Were you on with for Tromeo and Juliet?
No, I haven't seen that.
I didn't. I wasn't on for it. I do know that they did it.
On a slightly different end of the critical acclaim and that sort of thing, is a film that is this week's Criterion release. And while I do feel that it's a little early for this one to get a Criterion release, on the other hand, I think it's an awesome idea that this one is getting its physical release from Criterion.
Just glad it's getting one at all.
Yes. And I'm speaking, and I was about to make that point in just a moment, because we are speaking of a film distributed and backed by Netflix. Last year's big Oscar contender, Alfonso Cuarón's Roma. Roma was an incredible film. It was an awesome film, and it should have beat Green Book.
I mean, this is the desperation level sometimes I have to go to.
He got lucky. He got a screener copy of Icarus.
Still hasn't been released.
This Oscar-winning documentary from Netflix still has not been released. Yes. Netflix has become pretty good at doing physical releases for their television programs, usually 2 or 3 years after the fact. Occasionally they're on schedule, but usually they'll stream them for a couple of years, let them go. But so far they have shown tremendous reluctance to put their movies out into the ether as physical media. Icarus and Roma are Oscar-winning films. Mudbound and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs were nominated. They have several short films that were nominated, and the Oscars were called out in many corners for their failure to nominate Beast of No Nation. All of those are overdue for a physical release. However, we have said here multiple times that we don't want Criterion releasing stuff right away. And I do not mind at all the idea of Netflix putting their stuff on Criterion. I think that's a really good idea, because they're collector's editions. Netflix can still guarantee that a large chunk of their audience will still buy this streaming service. It's a really good business model for them to follow. Now, Roma, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to wait 5 years. And it looks like they're putting a lot of special features on there.
Good.
My sincere hope is it's been at least 3 years since Beast of No Nation. Let that one come out this year. And then maybe next year we can do Mudbound and Buster Scruggs. And then maybe next year we can see The Irishman and Marriage Story and The Two Popes. And this year Netflix just went all out and they did some really good stuff. And a lot of it screams Criterion.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good... Netflix people, pay attention. This is a good business model. Do it. But I am excited that Roma's coming out, and I will get it.
So, the last one I've got is a classics release from Funimation, which, of course, translates into, we're just doing a second print run, same cost.
But we're calling it a classic.
We're calling it classic. It's good enough that we feel it deserves a second print run.
Right.
But too good to put it at a discount. And that is for ReLife Final Arc, which I've got here. So it doesn't look all that different, as you can see. Essentially, ReLife is a story about a guy who's in his 30s, and they really treat a person's life in their 30s like they're in their 50s in that particular comic. But essentially, he gets a second chance. He gets to take this drug that makes him look like a teenager, and he gets to go back to high school and try and relive his life as a teenager to try and fix things. And it is a very interesting one. I have not seen the anime. It released in 2 parts. This being the final part, the second part, really. The manga was really good. I enjoyed the manga. It was one of the few times when I was on Crunchyroll I actually read the whole thing. Or at least all I could read at the time. And it just didn't update that frequently. But still, pretty good stuff.
Right.
Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this particular information blast. And we will, of course, see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.